You know, there are these phrases about love we've all heard our entire lives, right? They're so common, they feel like the absolute truth. But what if I told you that the version of love that's super popular today might not actually be from God at all? Okay, let's really dive into this and unpack what the source material says about a totally different and way more powerful kind of love.
I mean, this one is everywhere, right? Love people no matter what. It's basically the golden rule of being nice these days. The idea is simple. Love people, period. No conditions, no exceptions. And for a lot of us, that's kind of the starting point for how we even think about love.
And right on the heels of that one, you get this: don't judge. We're basically told that real love means you just turn off all your judgment. Like, to truly love someone, you have to hold back any kind of critique. You can never say that maybe something they're doing is, wrong.
And here's the last piece of that puzzle. Just accept everyone as they are. It's like the whole shebang. And on the surface, it sounds amazing, doesn't it? It sounds so kind. These three ideas, woven together, they basically form the entire foundation of how our culture today says we should love. But here comes the big question. What if this super well-meaning, comfortable version of love is, what if it's the very thing keeping people trapped? What if it's actually blocking them from real salvation? This one idea, it could flip everything you thought you knew on its head. Okay, so let's break this problem down. And just to be super clear, the issue we're talking about here isn't God's unconditional love for a person's soul. No, it's about our modern idea of unconditional acceptance of every single thing a person does, which we've started calling love. The source material argues this all starts with our culture's obsession with just being nice.
And this is where you can really see the massive difference. Look at the two sides. On the one hand, you've got this modern love. It's all about being nice, avoiding confrontation at all costs, and basically just protecting everyone's feelings. But then, you look at God's love, and it's defined completely differently. It's supposed to lead to change. It actually confronts sin. Its whole goal is pursuing righteousness. These are two totally different playbooks, and that difference, it has huge consequences.
And that's exactly why this nice love is, it's powerless. Seriously, think about it for a second. If your love never challenges someone, how is it supposed to change them? If it never confronts darkness, how can it ever lead to real transformation? And here's the big one. If it never points out why someone needs a savior in the first place, how could it possibly lead them to God? It just can't. It's a love that feels good in the moment, for sure, but accomplishes absolutely nothing that lasts.
So this really brings us to a tough personal question. We have to look in the mirror and ask, if the way I'm loving someone is just making them more comfortable in a life that's pulling them away from God, can I honestly call that love? Is it really love? Or is it something else? Maybe something more like neglect that's just dressed up to look like acceptance.
All right, so if that's the problem, what's the answer? Well, thankfully, the Bible doesn't just leave it up to us to guess what love is supposed to be. It actually gives us a very specific formula, a blueprint for what real, powerful, divine love actually looks like. And here it is, the core idea, laid out perfectly. The divine formula is kindness plus justice. And when you put them together, their goal is righteousness. See, it's not one or the other. It's not a choice between the two. Real, biblical love demands both of them, working in perfect balance for a single purpose.
Let's break that down a little more. Kindness all by itself, it's incomplete. That's just that nice love we talked about. It doesn't challenge anyone, so it doesn't change anyone. But what about justice all by itself? Well, that can be really dangerous and harsh, right? It's missing the grace that actually pulls people in. So the key, the absolute non-negotiable part, is that they have to work together. Their one and only job, when combined, is to help make people right with God.
And that leads us to a pretty unavoidable conclusion. If the love you're showing never corrects, if it never confronts what's wrong, if it never challenges sin, then whatever that thing is, it's not the love that comes from God. It's just a watered-down cultural version, and it saves absolutely no one.
So what does this formula actually look like in real life? Well, we have the perfect example, don't we? The life of Jesus Christ. And as you're about to see, he definitely did not just practice nice love.
Just think about that famous story, the woman caught in adultery. What does Jesus do? First, he shows this incredible kindness. Neither do I condemn you. Pure grace. But he doesn't stop there, does he? He immediately follows it up with justice, with a command that points her toward righteousness. Go and sin no more. See? That's not just being nice. That is powerful, life-changing love that has a very clear direction.
You can even see this exact same formula at work in his final moments on the cross. Remember, there were 2 thieves crucified right there with him. One of them mocked him, and that posture of rejection, it was met with justice. But the other one, he repented, and his posture of humility was met with kindness and the promise of paradise. Jesus didn't treat them both the same. His response was totally dependent on their posture toward the truth.
So once you see this, it kind of changes everything. It raises the stakes for sure. And it forces us to completely rethink what real love actually demands from us, day to day.
And this is probably the most uncomfortable truth in all of this. It's possible to spend your entire life loving people the way the world tells you to, just being nice, never offending anyone, and in doing so, you could actually be helping to send them to hell. Because a love that never speaks the truth about sin is a love that just leaves people trapped in it.
So, we have to completely redefine our goal. Real, biblical love, it's not about protecting feelings. It's not about avoiding tension or awkward conversations. And it's definitely not about being liked. It has one mission and one mission only: to help position people to be right with God. That's the goal. Everything else has to be secondary.
And that means we have to radically change the questions we ask ourselves. We have to completely stop asking this one: did I make them feel good? Because their temporary comfort, that's just not the measure of true love.
And instead, we have to start asking this question. After every single interaction, every conversation, every act of service, the question has to be, did this move them closer to God? That's the new metric. Honestly, it's the only question that really matters in the end.
So let's leave it with this final thought. Unconditional acceptance, the kind of love that just leaves people exactly where they are. It might feel loving in the moment, it's easy, it's comfortable for everyone, but it's only a love that's filled with truth, a love that combines that kindness and that justice that has any power to actually save.